This week is also ACC Media Days. I bet the Florida State and Clemson sessions are real exciting.
Oh, yeah.
There is a banner that has been hung up at ACC Media Days, and it's an official ACC banner because you have the ACC logo, all the team logos, and it proudly proclaims toughest non-conference schedule in the country.
What a weird flex.
It's a very weird thing to brag about, Nick. That was my reaction to it, too.
Is it? Or if you're a conference that's trying to,
sure,
get teams in the playoff, this is the type of pitch.
Yes, this is definitely,
you have to make.
Hey, look, we're challenging ourselves out of conference.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because you're trying to help feed the perception. You're trying to feed the perception that, hey, we're challenging ourselves more than those other leagues are. So hopefully we get the benefit of the doubt come playoff time. So while, it does sound like a very oddly specific, maybe weird flex, we're in different weird times now.
They say this is a restaurant, not a bakery. Because of cupcakes.
Well, I saw that and I was like, well, interesting. I'm curious if there's actual fact behind this.
So what did you do?
Well, I went and I looked at every Power 4 non-conference schedule.
That's wild.
John's a sicko.
That is some sicko behavior. John is trying to say, give me my summer forever. And then he goes and looks at non-conference schedules for Boston College and Syracuse.
Boston
College. I don't believe it.
Well,
great content, though. Thank you, John.
Thank you. It's going to be a good segment. I'm excited for this.
You all want the football content. I'm giving you the football.
Well, no, I want more baseball, actually. Tovar had a walk-off.
Don't worry.
Night.
Next March,
12 innings, Josh.
We'll do the toughest non-conference baseball schedules in the country.
The Red Sox.
Wow.
So here's what we have discovered. We'll start with the ACC because they made the bold claim.
Okay.
Now,
I want to kind of ask about the way in which you kind of put together the good and the bad of this in terms of top 25, et cetera, et cetera.
So, top 25, I used my new friend Kay Ford, who's the second.
Nick, when are we going to book Kay Ford for the Grum?
Who's the cousin of Bart.
I follow Kay Ford on Twitter.
Yeah, let's see if we can get him on the show. I want to talk to Kay Ford.
Hey, Kay Ford, you down?
So we use the Kay Ford ratings as our guide. And so what I did was I wanted to identify games against teams that are in the Kay Ford top 25.
Okay.
Then obviously I counted up all the Power 4 games.
And real quick, does that count the top 25 games too, or is it just
yes,
okay? So there are presumably, let's remove G5 for just a second. If there are 8 top 25 games, that would slide into that 23 number as well.
Yeah, because I don't believe Kay Ford has any group of 5 teams in his top.
So
25.
there would be so it's keep going. I just want to
sure. Yeah. So also I identified the FCS opponents.
Sure. Yeah.
And any team rated 100th or worse in Kay Ford's ratings.
Were there any power schools rated 100 or worse in his 134 reminder 134 team ranking? Any super crappy teams?
It looks like the lowest rated Power 4 conference team appears to be Vanderbilt at 84.
Okay, so no power schools below 100.
I believe.
Also, tough look for Vandy.
Yeah, I believe that is correct. So,
okay,
that's what we did. So the ACC, and the ACC is a little weird
because they have Notre Dame.
Because Notre Dame, because of the scheduling alliance, they play 4 ACC games every year.
Yeah.
So the numbers here are going to be a little weird. Plus, Florida State and Georgia Tech are playing this year, but it is not counting against the conference.
What? I didn't know that.
Yes.
So wait, the week 0 game's not even a conference game?
It is not counting against the conference standing.
What the hell? This has happened before in this stupid league.
And the Big 12 has a couple.
This dumb league.
The Big 12 has a couple of games.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Arizona and Kansas State, I believe. We'll see it here in a minute.
It was a non-conference. Yeah. Dumb.
So those are counted down below in what I call the Notre Dame or non-conference conference games.
Nice. Okay, I was wondering what NCC.
That's what that means. Non-conference conference games. So the ACC in 62 non-conference games, and I take out the Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right? And I take out that wonky Florida State, Georgia Tech game. So the ACC has what I would call 62 true non-conference games.
Okay. Real quick, Max Roy writes, John, I noticed you have Memphis bolded in FSU schedule, AAC Power Conference. That's a mistake, right? Memphis should not be a bolded and italicized team because they are still in the AAC.
He worked really hard on
I
this.
did. I guess,
okay.
I guess I made a mistake.
Hey, it's okay.
I
John,
made a mistake.
we all make mistakes.
Hey, this is why I hate you, college football, because you've messed everything up.
It's okay.
I can't tell you how many things I had to look up.
You did a good
because I had
job.
forgotten.
We're proud of you.
This doesn't diminish your hard work.
Thank you, Max, for catching that. It should be 22 Power 4 games.
All right.
So thank you for catching that.
Okay.
So there's 8 games, 8 non-conference ACC games will be against top 25 teams.
Okay.
Boston College is playing at Missouri, Cal's at Auburn, Clemson in Georgia,
Boston College,
Florida State are some of the examples. Tennessee is NC State is playing Tennessee. Wake Forest is playing Ole Miss.
Okay.
So there are 8 games that the ACC is playing non-conference against top 25 teams.
All right.
22 against Power 4 competition, 15 against the FCS, and 14 against teams rated 100th or worse.
The dregs. The dregs
of FBS football.
And remember, ACC is a conference that plays 8 conference games. So they have 4 non-conference matches.
Correct.
Okay.
Big Ten. Good news is the Big Ten and the SEC don't have any of these weird exceptions.
Thank God.
So there are 54 total non-conference games. 6 feature top 25 opposition.
Okay.
Michigan, Texas.
Oh, USC, LSU.
Purdue, Notre Dame, UCLA, LSU, USC, LSU, USC, Notre Dame.
Shout out to USC.
And Wisconsin, Alabama.
Nice.
18 Power 4 games.
Okay.
12 versus the FCS. And 15 games against teams rated 100th or worse.
The dregs.
So rude.
That's the Big Ten.
What if they heard you say that?
Dregs.
One of the dregs is probably listening right now.
Big 12.
Sorry, dregs.
And again, you've got a couple of games that are conference, non-conference games.
To be fair to the Big 12, it's because of realignment. It wasn't realignment that got Florida State playing Georgia Tech in a non-conference.
K-State and Arizona were scheduled to play. They're
Yeah.
keeping it on the schedule. Utah, Baylor, same thing.
Okay.
Big 12 only has 3 top 25 non-conference opponents this year. Houston is at Oklahoma. UCF is at Florida, and West Virginia is at Penn State.
Yeah, now part of that too is that some of the teams
Penn State.
like Iowa's not in the top 25. Nebraska's not in the top 25. So it just hurts you a little bit.
14 of their 44 non-conference games are against the Power 4. 14 are against the FCS. Only 6 are below 100 in the rankings.
Only 6 against the dregs. That's nice.
And again,
Nice.
those 4, I mean, they're technically 2 games, but because each opponent is counted twice, there's those 4 that are non-conference conference games. And now to the SEC, where it just means more.
It's more colors for sure.
A lot of colors.
9
I'm colorblind, so some of these just look the
of
same.
their games are against top 25. Arkansas is at Oklahoma State, Florida, Miami, Georgia, Clemson, Kentucky, Louisville, Texas, Michigan, South Carolina, Clemson, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Florida State.
I'll help you with colors, Josh. Are you confused by any of these?
I mean, I'm figuring it out.
20,
Top 25 and below 100 look the same color to me.
20 games against the Power 4.
Okay.
15 against the FCS, and 21 against teams rated 100th.
Wow,
or worse.
that's the most dregs.
Now, keep in mind, the SEC plays 4.
That's true.
Each team plays 4.
But so did the
non-conference
ACC,
games.
and they had fewer dregs.
Well,
Dreg boys.
so
Dreg-pilled.
let's put them all side by side,
Okay.
right? So we can look at everything equally. So, if you want to get your calculator out and let's do some math.
Okay.
ACC has 8 out of their 62 against top 25. Now, we're going to stick a pin in that for just a minute because I'll get back to that, but that's 8 out of 62.
Okay.
So what's that?
12.9.
Good math.
SEC is 9 out of 64. This is top 25 non-conference.
14. 14.1.
Big Ten is 6 out of 54.
That's going to be small. 11.1.
And the Big 12 is 3 out of 44.
That is 7%.
So the ACC does have, ACC and the SEC are basically the same in terms of playing the upper crust of
Tell that to Florida State.
top 25. However, and again, stick a pin in this because this does not, those top 25 games do not count Notre Dame.
So the ACC number is actually higher.
So
why didn't you count Notre Dame?
Well, I didn't count it because that's the scheduling alliance. I was just looking outside of that.
Okay.
But if you count Notre Dame,
which you should for top 25 games,
because it will. So the ACC is kind of getting away with a technicality
for sure, but
because they do have a scheduling alliance with Notre Dame.
But they play them.
Correct.
They do play them.
They do.
So maybe it means more for the ACC instead.
And if you play them and you have another non-conference power game, then that means that if you're in the ACC, you're playing 10, which is the same number Nebraska is playing.
The ACC does have more Power 4 games than the SEC does.
Yeah.
They have the same number of FCS, and they have far fewer below 100 games.
Yeah, and if you do the raw percentage because of the because they play so many more non-conference games, their FCS percentage is pretty much right in line, or if not better than the Big 12 or the Big 10 rather, in the Big 12.
Correct.
Wow, they told the truth.
They told the truth, and I'm guessing
with
that
a funny banner.
They're counting Notre Dame because it. I mean,
they should,
and they should.
Yeah, I would say.
I only didn't just so I could.
No, it's nice that you divided them. I think that was really smart of you. But then it emphasizes, wow, they did actually a pretty good job.
They did do a pretty good job.
Do you think that was on purpose, or do you think they knew?
No, they probably discovered it is what it was. Now, like the ACC, and I know we got to go to break for Mr. Purdue, but they always play Florida in the non-conference because Florida State plays them. They always play Clemson. Oh wait, no, they don't. They don't always play Clemson. They always play Georgia, excuse me. So like they always have those games built in. Clemson always plays South Carolina, is what I was trying to say. So they always have these power games. That's 3 non-conference matchups that they have built in every single year. You throw Notre Dame in and you're cooking with gas.
You know who really looks bad in this?
Big 12.
The Big 12.
Big 12 looks horrible. Now, part of it, again, is that Nebraska, if they were a top 25 team, that would be a nice little bonus for them. Iowa's not in the top 25. That'd be a bonus for Iowa State. But still, that's just 2 games out of the others.
Right.
It's a pretty rough look. And with that many teams now, that's a lot of teams.
Now, of course, we have no idea how the actual season's going to play out. Maybe teams like Nebraska and Iowa, do better and thus boost up the Big Ten's non-conference. But at least going into the season, the Big 12 definitely has the least resistance path for its teams, which could come back to haunt them come playoff selection time.
That's why
when you're trying to compare 10-win teams in one conference to 10-win teams in another.
Set the over-under at 1.5 playoff teams, and I go with the under right now because of that fact.
All right. Well, we'll hold on to that. I'll tweet some of these out later tonight when I get home.
All right.
And correct the one. And thanks again, Max. I believe it was Max.
Yeah,
caught that.
Memphis.
Thanks for catching that on Memphis.